Chosen one, stop scrolling. Right now. Your thumb was about to move, wasn't it? But something stopped you. Heaven itself reached through the noise and froze time. Because what you're about to hear contains 4 spiritual actions Jesus performed before sleep every night that shatter enemy strongholds. I will reveal all 4 at the very end. But the 4th one is so powerful, I've never shared it publicly. If you leave early, you'll miss the key that breaks generational chains while you dream. You didn't find this video. It found you. In a digital ocean of billions of messages, this specific combination of words landed in front of your eyes at this exact hour. Some call it algorithm. Heaven calls it appointment. And the enemy is furious right now. He's whispering, "You've heard this before. Keep scrolling." That voice? That's spiritual warfare. Because what I'm about to reveal threatens a plan operating against you for years. 7 years of closed doors, jobs that went to someone less qualified, relationships that fell apart, projects that collapsed right before breakthrough. You called it bad luck. But what if every closed door, every sudden no, every last-minute cancellation had fingerprints on it? Human fingerprints. Someone in your inner circle has been operating against you, not with violence, with whispers, with strategic delays. And the Most High has been watching every move, recording every betrayal, preparing a reckoning so precise that when it unfolds, even you will stand in awe. As Job 34:21-22 says, "His eyes are on the ways of mortals. He sees their every step. There is no deep shadow where evildoers can hide." But before I reveal the name, and I will, you need to understand this wasn't simple jealousy. This was systematic destruction requiring someone who knew exactly where to strike. Someone with access. Someone who sat at your table. Someone who called you brother. Can you feel your heart rate increasing? That's not anxiety. That's recognition. Your spirit has known this for months. You've had fleeting moments where you sensed something wrong, where you looked at someone and felt doubt, where you noticed they were always present when things went wrong, but absent when things went right. You buried those instincts. You chose trust over discernment, and the enemy used that against you. But here's what he didn't calculate: divine timing. Every door he helped slam was God's protection. You weren't ready. Walking through them would have led to traps so devastating you might not have recovered. The job that went to someone else, that company collapsed 8 months later. The relationship that ended, that person is now in chaos that would have consumed you. The project that fell apart, it would have bankrupted you. Every no was a shield. Every closed door was intervention. Every delay was protection. And the person who thought they were destroying your future was actually being used to save your life. Genesis 50:20. You intended harm, but God intended it for good. Now let me tell you what's happening right now as you listen. Chains are cracking. Spiritual chains that bound your bloodline for decades. Generational patterns of failure, poverty, broken relationships. Those patterns were engineered. Demons need human cooperation. Somewhere in your family history, someone made an agreement. Words spoken in bitterness became permissions. Permissions became chains. Chains became patterns. Patterns became destinies. But you were marked before birth to be the chain breaker, the one who says no more. That's why the attacks have been fierce. That's why betrayals cut so deep. Because if the enemy could break you, he could extend those chains another generation. He failed. You're still standing. And standing is victory. There's something else. The person who betrayed you didn't act alone. Behind every visible enemy is an invisible influencer. Behind the one who whispered lies about you, there was someone who whispered to them first. A woman. She doesn't operate in the open. She operates in living rooms, in phone calls that start with, "I'm only telling you because I care." She planted the initial seed of doubt about you in your betrayer's mind. She framed your strengths as threats, your silence as arrogance, your boundaries as rejection. She did it so skillfully that your betrayer doesn't realize he's been weaponized. He thinks his feelings are his own. He thinks his resentment is justified, but they're programmed. And the programmer has been moving in shadows for years, turning people you trusted into tools against you. Not because she hates you personally, because she fears what you represent. She fears the anointing on your life. She fears that when you step into your calling, her own facade will be exposed. And those 4 practices Jesus did before sleep, they work specifically against this kind of hidden enemy. The second one especially, it transforms pain into power within 7 days. But I can't give them yet. Your heart isn't prepared. If I gave them now, you'd use them in anger instead of authority. Stay with me. Let the anger burn clean. Then I'll give you the keys. Breathe. I know this is heavy. Part of you wants to deny it. Another part is mentally running through faces. Don't. Not yet. Premature identification makes you sloppy. Confrontation without divine strategy is just drama. What we're building toward isn't drama. It's deliverance. And here's the twist. Heaven's justice isn't just punishment. It's exposure that leads to repentance. The goal isn't to destroy your betrayer. It's to free them from the puppet master. When God brings things to light, it's to offer everyone a chance to step into truth. Some will take it, some will double down, but the offer will be made. In the coming days, you'll start noticing things. A comment that doesn't land right, a reaction that seems disproportionate, a story that doesn't match. These are breadcrumbs. Heaven is giving you discernment in real time. You'll have moments where you think, that's exactly what the voice said, and you'll feel grief and relief. Grief because betrayal hurts. Relief because validation of your instincts is healing. And while you navigate this revelation, something else is happening. Someone has been searching for you for 10 years. That's literal. A person who received a dream about you a decade ago. They didn't know your name or face, but they knew your spirit. They were shown that their destiny was tied to yours, that together you would accomplish something neither could alone. They've been praying for you, watching for signs, following spiritual breadcrumbs, and the reason your paths haven't crossed yet, strategic timing. If you'd met 5 years ago, you weren't ready. They weren't ready. The enemy would have sabotaged it. But now the soil is prepared. Now the season is right. Now the meeting will produce fruit instead of frustration. Do you see the layers? Nothing has been wasted. Every attack has been absorbed into strategy. Every setback integrated into setup. Every tear you cried is now being converted into fuel for your launch. Psalm 56:8. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. The accounting is complete. The conversion is beginning. Within 21 days, mark this timeline. You're going to have an encounter that feels like déjà vu. You'll speak with someone and think, how do you know that about me? They'll finish your sentences, reference concepts you thought were uniquely yours, share struggles that mirror yours with eerie precision, and something will click. A door will open in your spirit. Your betrayer will sense it. He won't know what happened, but he'll feel a shift. He'll notice you're different. lighter, more confident, less affected by his subtle digs. And it'll unnerve him, because his power over you was tied to your isolation. As long as you were alone, as long as you doubted yourself, he could maintain control. But the moment you connect with your destiny partner, that control evaporates. And that's when his mask will start slipping. That's when the woman behind him will panic. That's when they'll make mistakes. Desperate, obvious mistakes. They'll overplay their hand. They'll say things that reveal too much. And people around you will start questioning, why are they so threatened by this new friendship? Why so anxious about this new opportunity? The exposure won't come from you defending yourself. It'll come from them prosecuting themselves. Their own actions will build the case. Their own words will seal the verdict. You won't have to say a word. You'll just watch divine justice work with surgical precision. Something shifted 2 years ago. Mark that in your mind. It might have been a promotion you earned, a project you launched, a relationship you stepped into, or simply the moment you stopped shrinking yourself to make others comfortable. Whatever it was, in the unseen realm, it registered as a threat. Before that, opposition around you was like background noise. After that, it became targeted, precise, coordinated, and you felt it. Doors that should have opened slammed shut. Conversations that seemed promising died without explanation. People who were excited about you suddenly cooled off for no clear reason. You searched yourself. You asked if you had done something wrong. You replayed conversations in your head, wondered if you said something offensive, misstepped, missed God. You prayed more. You fasted. You asked for forgiveness for things you couldn't even name. But the pressure didn't lift, because you weren't being punished for disobedience. You were being attacked for alignment. The moment you stepped closer to your assignment, you stepped onto the enemy's radar. Before that moment, you were dangerous in potential. After that moment, you became dangerous in motion. And when someone dangerous in motion appears, hell issues assignments. That's when your brother received his. He didn't receive it in a dark ritual or a demonic visitation. He received it in something that felt like a thought, a feeling, a tiny seed of comparison that said, why them? Why not you? The seed was planted by her. She didn't start with accusations. She started with empathy. I see how hard you've worked. I know you've been there for them. It must hurt to feel like they're moving ahead without you. Those words felt like comfort, but they were poison wrapped in velvet. With each conversation, she fed what was wounded in him. She found the crack and pressed, gently, patiently, tirelessly. She framed your progress as his loss, your light as his shadow, your calling as his cancellation. And because he never learned that the Father's table is endless, that one person's elevation doesn't require another's demotion, he believed her. The moment he believed that lie, his heart became fertile ground for a more dangerous thought. Maybe I need to protect myself from them. Maybe I need to keep some things back. Maybe I need to make sure I'm not left behind. That's when the subtle sabotage began. At first it was just hesitation. He delayed forwarding your name when someone asked for a recommendation. He didn't think it was sabotage. He told himself he was waiting for the right moment. The right moment never came. Then it was a mission. He was in rooms where your name should have been spoken, but it never left his lips. Then, slowly, it became distortion. They're talented, but I love them, but lately, I'm not sure they're ready for this level yet. Each but became a brick after brick, A wall went up between you and opportunities you never even knew existed. You saw only the wall, not the builder. All you felt was closed, not knowing how many times your name died in his mouth seconds before it could be spoken in your favor. And behind him, she was smiling. Now hear this carefully. Somewhere in this story, something that belonged to you, an idea, a credit, a pathway, moved into his hands, not overtly stolen in a dramatic scene, quietly, on paper, in a conversation you thought was logistical, in a document you signed thinking it was a formality. You trusted him. You didn't read every line. You believed his summary. And that trust became the legal door through which something bearing your fingerprints was relabeled with his. You haven't even seen the full extent of it yet. You've noticed hints, a project that reflects your vision without your name attached, a narrative that sounds like your testimony told from someone else's mouth, a resource that flowed to them that was originally discussed with you. The unease you felt in your spirit about this isn't paranoia, it's discernment, a quiet alarm from heaven that says, something isn't right here. But this is where the story turns. The very mechanism used to take from you is going to be the mechanism heaven uses to restore to you. Every document is dated. Every transfer is recorded. Every conversation that no one will ever know about is known in full detail. Nothing is lost in darkness. Nothing stays buried forever. In the coming weeks, something will surface. A screenshot, an email, a casual admission made in front of the wrong person at the wrong time. A phrase that slips out of his mouth that reveals knowledge he should not have. And someone who hears it will feel that same unease you've felt for months. They'll start connecting dots. They'll remember what you said. They'll remember what he said. They'll realize the math doesn't add up. Think about that for a moment. For years, you've carried the weight of, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm overreacting, maybe I'm the problem. Soon, that weight will shift onto the scales. Other eyes will see it. Other minds will process it. Other mouths will say what you've been afraid to say. Something is wrong here. Something is off. And while all of this is forming, she will move again. She will not sit still while her structure cracks. She will intensify her tactics. Expect sudden crises from her direction. Health scares, emotional breakdowns, financial emergencies, each one perfectly timed to pull your brother's attention away from the growing tension and back into her orbit. This is how she has kept him for years, by always needing him more than anyone else does. But something in him will be different this time. A small part of him will feel tired, tired of putting out fires that never stop burning. Tired of carrying emotions that never heal, tired of sacrificing pieces of himself for someone who never truly recovers. For the first time, he'll notice that the only constant in the drama is her, and that awareness will crack her influence from the inside. And this is where the first of the 4 nightly practices will matter more than anything. The practice of spoken forgiveness. Because when the evidence surfaces, when the conversations happen, when the masks start slipping, your flesh will want revenge. Your mind will write speeches. Your heart will rehearse confrontations. But the kingdom doesn't advance on the fuel of vengeance. It advances on the fuel of clean fire. Forgiveness doesn't mean trust. It doesn't mean access. It means you refuse to let what they did become the architect of who you are. Before you sleep on the night this begins to break open, you will speak his name out loud. You will say, I forgive you. I release you. You no longer owe me a life. You will feel your throat tighten as you say it. You might feel rage alongside the words. Say them anyway, because what you speak in obedience becomes a seed in the spirit, and that seed will grow into a tree whose fruit you will eat months from now when you're tempted to stay angry forever. Now let's talk about her more clearly. This woman isn't just someone who gossips. She is someone who builds her entire sense of worth on being needed. She manufactures situations where she is the center of concern. She's always the injured party, always the misunderstood one, always the one carrying more than anyone knows. When doors close for others, she whispers, "See, I told you so." When doors open for others, she sighs and says, "I'm happy for them," while sowing quiet doubt into listening ears. She doesn't wear power on her face. She hides it in weakness. She rules the room by appearing to be the most fragile in it. People rush to protect her, defend her, include her, explain her. Your brother became one of those people. He believed defending her was righteous. He believed protecting her was love. He believed standing with her meant standing for justice. What he didn't see was that she picked him for that role. She saw the rescuer in him and handed him a victim script to play. He played it well. She used his loyalty as currency. When he brought her information, she paid him with validation. "You're the only one who understands me. You're the only one I can trust. If it weren't for you, I don't know what I'd do." Those words forged chains more effective than any contract. He became addicted to being her savior, and in that addiction, he became blind to everyone she pushed out of his circle, including you. Every time she made you the problem, she made him the hero. Every time she framed your boundaries as cruelty, your silence as arrogance, your distance as betrayal, she gave him another chance to stand up for her. And he did, again and again, without realizing that the more he defended her, the more he distanced himself from truth. But heaven let this continue for one reason: to reveal what was in him, not to destroy him, to expose what needed healing. Insecurity, comparison, fear of being left behind. Those things were always there. She just pressed the buttons. Without those things surfacing, he could never confront them. Without confronting them, he could never be truly free. And listen carefully. His freedom is part of your story too. Your healing is not fully complete until you can look at him and desire his deliverance more than his downfall. That desire won't come all at once. It will come in stages. First, you will want him to feel what you felt. Then you will want him to understand what he did. Then you will want him to admit it. Only much later will you want him to be whole. Heaven is patient with that process, but heaven will keep nudging you toward the last stage, because that's where you start to look like Jesus again. There is a moment coming, and it will be soon, when you will see her clearly for who she is. It may be in a slip of her tongue. It may be in a moment where she thinks no one is watching. It may be through a story someone else tells you, not realizing they're handing you the missing puzzle piece. You will realize that she has done to others what she did to you. You weren't the first. You were just the latest. And that realization will break something heavy off your chest. The lie that you were uniquely flawed, uniquely unworthy, uniquely disposable. You'll see that she moves through circles the same way a storm moves through towns, leaving the same pattern of destruction everywhere she goes. Different names, same story, different faces, same wounds. In that moment, you will stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start seeing what's wrong with the system that gave her so much power. You'll stop replaying every conversation looking for your fault. and start recognizing the script she's been reading from. That clarity is deliverance, not just from her, but from every copy of her you might have met in the future. And this is where the second nightly practice, thanking God for pain, comes in like medicine. You will stand in the wreckage of what she and your brother did, and instead of only saying, "Why?" you will whisper, "Thank you." Not because the betrayal was good, but because God is good enough to weave it into something that will one day save someone else. Thank you for showing me this pattern now, before it cost me more. Thank you that this door closed before I walked through it blinded. Thank you that I learned to discern here, so I don't repeat this at a higher level later. Gratitude doesn't rewrite history. It rewires your relationship with it. It turns your memory from a prison into a library, a place you visit to learn, not a place you're trapped inside. Now, zoom out for a moment. While all of this has played out, the manipulation, the theft, the closed doors, God has not been wringing his hands. He has been preparing something in parallel, someone in parallel. For 10 years, a person you've never met has been carrying you in prayer. They saw you in a dream, at a crossroads, light stretching between you and them. They woke with tears in their eyes and your essence in their spirit. They prayed for someone whose name they didn't know. They warred for someone whose face they couldn't recognize. They stood in the gap for someone who, right now, is listening to this and thinking, is this really about me? Yes, it is. 10 years is a long time to carry a burden for a stranger. They had seasons where they almost gave up. 3 months ago, they almost did. They said to God, maybe I made this up. Maybe I misheard. Maybe I've wasted years. And right when they were ready to lay it down, heaven gave them a sign so loud, it shook them awake. A repeated number that followed them everywhere. A phrase they heard 3 times in one day. A message that described their dream so precisely they couldn't deny it. That sign said, soon. You are in that soon. The connection will not look grand at first. It will look ordinary. A comment, a message, a handshake in a crowded room, a seat assignment that puts you next to each other. But when you start talking, something in your chest will exhale. You'll feel as if you've been speaking this conversation in your sleep for years. You'll talk about betrayal and see their eyes well up because they lived it too. You'll talk about stolen seasons and see them nod because they lost years as well. In that moment, you will understand why it hurt this much, why it took this long, why the enemy fought this hard. Because what you two will build together will be a refuge for people who are exactly where you are right now. Confused, wounded, doubting, scrolling in desperation. You won't just comfort them. You'll equip them. You'll hand them tools you didn't have when you needed them. Tools you're receiving now. Your brother will feel this connection in the spirit before he hears about it in the natural. He will sense your energy shifting. He will feel you stepping out of his emotional orbit. He will try to pull you back with familiar lines. You've changed. You're distant. We don't talk like we used to. For the first time, you won't become small to make him comfortable. You will stand your full height calmly, and that calm will frighten him more than any argument ever could. Because manipulators don't fear anger, they fear clarity. Anger they can provoke, redirect, use. Clarity they can't touch. That's where you're headed. Clarity. Clarity about who you are. Clarity about who they are. Clarity about what actually happened. Clarity about where you're going next. And hovering just ahead of you like a door slightly open are those 4 nightly practices. You've felt them teased, You've heard them mentioned. You know they're coming. The first will untangle your heart from people who mishandled it. The second will convert your pain into fuel. The third will invite heaven into your dreams with surgical precision. And the fourth will seal your nights under divine watch so completely that the enemy cannot trespass without triggering alarms. You are not far from them now. One more turn in the hallway, one more layer of revelation, one more descent into the details of what was taken and how heaven plans to restore it. Then the keys will be in your hands. We are now entering the most dangerous moment of this entire message. The enemy knows that if you receive the 4 nightly practices in the final section, if you implement them starting tonight, he loses his grip on you permanently. Right now, as these words reach you, he is deploying maximum interference, a phone notification, sudden fatigue, the urge to come back later. That is not coincidence. That is desperation, because 7 consecutive nights of these practices will create a holy fortress around your sleep that he cannot breach. Lock in. Stay focused. What comes next reveals why you survived when others would have quit. Let me take you to the moment 10 years ago that changed everything. Not for you, for someone else. They woke from a dream with your spiritual signature burned into their memory. Not your physical face, your essence. They saw you at the end of a bridge of light. With each step toward you, the light intensified until it was almost blinding. Just before your hands touched, the dream cut off. They wept, not from sadness, but recognition. They knew something massive had been revealed, even without understanding it. They prayed, fasted, asked for clarity, and over months, the answer came in fragments. This person exists. You will meet them, but not yet. Pray for them. Cover them. The enemy knows this connection and will try to destroy them first. For 10 years they carried you. Some mornings they woke with urgency to intercede for you. Some nights they couldn't sleep, burdened for someone they'd never met. 3 months ago, they almost quit. God, did I imagine this? Have I wasted a decade? And right when they were ready to lay it down, heaven sent confirmation, a number sequence that followed them everywhere, a phrase repeated by 3 unrelated people, a dream with impossible specificity that screamed, now, that now is your now. Your paths will cross in an ordinary moment, a coffee shop line, a mutual connection, an online comment thread. 5 minutes into conversation, you'll feel it, a click in your chest, a resonance that defies logic. You'll share betrayal stories and see them tear up because they lived identical pain. You'll mention stolen seasons, and they'll nod because they lost years too. Time will vanish. You'll talk for hours about things you don't share with casual acquaintances. Your brother will sense this connection spiritually before hearing about it naturally. He'll feel your energy shift. He'll notice you're lighter, more anchored, less swayed by his subtle manipulations. He'll try pulling you back. You've changed. You're different now. We don't talk like we used to. For the first time, you won't shrink to make him comfortable. You'll stand your full height, calmly, and that composure will terrify him more than anger ever could. Because manipulators don't fear rage. They can redirect it, provoke it, weaponize it. They fear clarity, clarity they cannot touch. That's when his mistakes accelerate. He'll contradict himself publicly. He'll reference details he shouldn't know. He'll push too hard to undermine your new connection, and people will notice. Why does this bother him so much? Why the sudden urgency? His facade cracks not from your attack, but from his own overreach. Meanwhile, she panics. Her puppet strings slacken. She manufactures crisis, health scare, emotional collapse, financial emergency, perfectly timed to reclaim his attention. But something in him shifts. For the first time he'll feel tired, tired of endless fires, tired of emotions that never heal, tired of sacrificing himself for someone who never truly recovers. He'll notice the pattern. Her crises never resolve. Her wounds never close. Her drama never ends. That awareness plants the first seed of regret. Not full repentance, not yet, but the quiet whisper, what if I chose wrong? What if they weren't the problem? What if I was being used? He'll try silencing it, rehearsing justifications, remembering every reason he convinced himself you deserved betrayal. But the whisper persists, and it makes him sloppy. That's when evidence surfaces, not because you dug for it, because he gets careless. A screenshot surfaces. An email chain gets forwarded to the wrong person. A casual admission lands in front of witnesses. Someone connects dots. Wait, he told me the idea was his. He told you it was collaborative. The dates don't match. People who believed him start reaching out. Carefully. I was told some things about you that I'm questioning. Can we talk? I think I owe you an apology. You'll have a choice. Weaponize their guilt or extend grace. Not because they earned it, but because betrayal refined you instead of corrupting you. This choice matters. It's why the second practice, thanking God specifically for pain, becomes your lifeline. After evidence surfaces, when righteous anger burns hottest, you'll speak gratitude. Thank you for this exposure. Thank you for these witnesses. Thank you that truth defends itself. Gratitude doesn't rewrite history. It rewires your relationship to it. We're now 3 sections from full revelation of all 4 practices. The third practice activates prophetic dreams that bypass mental noise and deliver divine strategy directly to your subconscious. But first, you need the full picture of her operation. She builds worth through being needed. She manufactures crises requiring rescue. She's always injured, always misunderstood, always carrying more than anyone knows. When your doors close, she whispers, "See, I told you." When doors open for others, she sighs, "I'm happy for them," while sowing doubt. She rules through perceived weakness. People rush to protect, defend, explain her. Your brother became one of those satellites. She saw the rescuer in him and handed him a victim script. Every time she made you the problem, she made him the hero. Every boundary you set became his opportunity to defend her. But heaven permitted this to expose what was in him: insecurity, comparison, fear of being left behind. Without those surfacing, he'd never confront them. Without confrontation, he'd never be free. And his freedom completes your story. Your healing isn't finished until you want his deliverance more than his destruction. That desire grows in stages. First, you'll want him punished. Then you'll want confession. Finally, you'll want him whole. Heaven nudges you toward that endgame because it restores his image in you. A moment approaches when you'll see her clearly. A slip of tongue. A story from someone else that hands you the missing puzzle. You'll realize she did this to others before you. You weren't uniquely flawed. You were strategically targeted. That realization breaks a lie. Something's wrong with me. You'll see her pattern. Different names, same destruction. That clarity is deliverance, and it positions you for the nightly practices that will seal your nights under divine protection. 2 sections remain. Prepare pen and paper. The practices require precision. Implement them tonight, and within 72 hours, your betrayer makes his first visible mistake. By day 7, manipulators lose influence entirely. Can you feel your spirit leaning in? That's the Holy Spirit clearing space. The atmosphere around you thickens with expectation. Something massive approaches. Your endurance through this message qualified you. Most stopped at the pain. You pressed through to the promise. One more revelation. One more layer. Then the keys. You made it here. Few do. Through every distraction, every doubt, every moment when scrolling felt easier, you endured. That endurance positioned you. Heaven honors persistence. And now, the moment arrives. The 4 spiritual actions Jesus performed before sleep, every single night. Place your hand over your heart. Feel the rhythm beneath your fingers. That steady beat declares you're alive. You survived. You're positioned. Now receive what your obedience unlocked. Practice 1. Spoken forgiveness, 45 seconds. Jesus named one person aloud before sleep, the one whose wrong still lingered, not silently in thought, with physical voice. I forgive name. I release their debt to me. Father, I place them in your hands. Why aloud? Words carry spiritual authority your thoughts cannot. Genesis 1. God said, and it was so. Tonight, speak one name, the heaviest one, your brother, the manipulator. Say their name. Speak the release. You don't need to feel it fully. Speak it anyway. Feelings follow obedience. Practice. 2. Gratitude for specific pain, 60 seconds. After forgiveness, Jesus thanked God for one pain of that day. Specifically, Father, I thank you for exact rejection, pain, loss. I trust you are working it for my good. This rewires pain's power. Gratitude, declares Romans 8:28, operates in your life. Identify one wound from your betrayal. Speak thanks for it. Thank you for exposing this before it cost more. The first 3 nights feel mechanical. By night 7, belief catches up. Pain transforms from prison into professor. Practice 3. Invitation for prophetic dreams, 30 seconds. Jesus requested one truth for tomorrow. Father, show me in dreams one truth I need tomorrow. Give me eyes to see, ears to hear what matters most. Sleep processes 20 times more data than waking consciousness. This sanctifies your subconscious as holy ground. Keep notepad bedside. Write fragments immediately upon waking. Numbers, names, feelings, images. Patterns emerge by day 4. Strategies download. Direction clarifies. Practice. 4. Declaration of divine watch, 90 seconds. Hand on heart. Jesus declared the unbreakable seal. Father, I see you in darkness. You see me. We are one. Nothing touches me outside your sovereignty. While I sleep, you watch. While I'm vulnerable, you guard. I rest in your shadow. We are one. This practice breaks curses during sleep. Manipulators lose influence within 72 hours. Fear cannot coexist with this declaration. Speak it feeling your heartbeat. Each pulse reminds, the same God sustaining you through betrayal watches over you tonight. Bonus practice. 5. For those who reached this far. On nights of maximum warfare, Jesus added, I receive divine timing. What belongs to me finds me. What doesn't passes by. I trust your calendar over my urgency. This neutralizes hell's greatest weapon, false urgency, the pressure to force outcomes, the exhaustion of control. This declaration surrenders you into rest that accomplishes more than striving ever could. Implementation. Protocol. Starting tonight. Set alarm for 30 minutes before normal bedtime. Find quiet space. Phone face down. Execute all 5 practices in sequence, aloud. Notepad bedside for morning download. 7 consecutive nights. No exceptions. Timeline of results. Mark these. 72 hours. Brother makes first visible mistake. Contradicts himself publicly. 7 days. Manipulators lose influence. People start questioning their narrative. 14 days. Destiny partner receives final confirmation. Your paths align. 21 days. First restoration arrives. Opportunity, relationship, resource. You'll wake tomorrow lighter. Not healed. Healing takes time. But shifted. The chest weight lifts slightly. Angry thought loops quiet. Sleep comes easier. By day 3, you'll notice people responding differently. Texts arrive with unexpected timing. Doors crack open. Your brother senses it first. He cannot articulate your change, but he feels it. The woman behind him panics as her access points close. She cannot reach you through bitterness anymore. You've sealed those spiritual doors. The person praying for you 10 years feels the shift tonight. They recognize the acceleration. Within 7 days, they receive the sign marking final approach. Your meeting arrives between days 14-21, not as grand drama, but quiet certainty. 5 minutes of conversation confirms everything. You'll understand then why every door closed, why every betrayal cut so deep, why every delay felt personal. All positioned you for assignment requiring this exact refinement. Thousands will walk your path because you walked it first. They'll receive your tools because you received them through pain. The enemy fought hardest here because he saw your future clearest. He deployed every weapon because your testimony threatens his kingdom most. He failed. You sit here now, hand on heart, receiving keys he cannot steal. One final truth before you close your eyes tonight. Isaiah 49:2. He made my mouth like a sharpened sword. In the shadow of his hand he hid me. He made me into a polished arrow and concealed me in his quiver. You were hidden, protected, polished. Now the arrow leaves the quiver. The sword emerges from shadow. Your mouth carries sharpened words. Your aim finds divine targets. If these words pierced your spirit, if you commit to 7 nights of practice starting tonight, speak it aloud now. I receive. I will obey. Heaven, mark my yes. Let the spiritual realm record your alignment. Let angels activate around your obedience. Let the person carrying your name for a decade feel confirmation surge through their spirit. The scroll stopped for a reason. The endurance positioned you for a reason. The pain qualified you for a reason. Now you carry keys thousands need. Rest in power tonight. The practices seal your sleep. Heaven watches your dreams. Tomorrow wakes different. The chains break while you breathe.